Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be working on 2 warm-ups, not only one, 2 warm-ups, and we'll be working on system of equations. You will be able to do 4.3. Today students will be able to create a system of equations based on scenarios, so it's word problems, explain what a solution to a system is, and create a table. This is the main, because we're going to be working with scenarios throughout this unit, but the main focus today is the table. So let's go ahead and do our 2 warm-ups. And the reason for which I decided to do 2 warm-ups is because we'll be using this information throughout this unit. And so I think it's important to review some of these concepts. So the first warm-up says, create an expression from the following scenarios. It says you have 6 boxes with apples. You ate 3 apples. So the number of apples that I have in total, which is represented by y, is going to be equals to 6x minus 3. And what does this represent? It represents the 6 boxes. The x represents the number of apples in each box. And minus 3 means the ones that we ate. Now remember, this is a constant, this is a variable term. And together, all my apples are the total, which represent the y, okay? For the next one, you said you have 2 bags with bananas. Your friend gives you 7 bananas. Okay, so in addition to this, so the total number of bananas, this is the total number of bananas, is equal to the 2 bags with bananas. These are the bananas in each bag, plus the 7 that your friend gives you. Together, it's equals to the total that you have. You have $400 in the bank and spent $20 every 2 days. Okay, so the amount of money that you have after the spending is equal to the initial point is 400, which you are always going to put it as the constant at the end. And since it's positive, it's not debt, it's money that you have is positive. And then in here, you're going to put that it's 20 every 2 days. But very important, in here it says you spend those $20. When it's spending, that means that you're going to subtract 20 every 2. Now if you simplify it, right, it would be y is equals to negative 10x plus the 400, which is the same, but again, we're just representing what this expression tells us. Again, the rise is going to be what happens. The run is how often. So you spend $20 every 2 days. So this is related to previous information that we have seen in units from before. The second warm-up is to graph. Okay, it says graph the following. And what I've decided to do, since we're going to be doing system of equations, remember that systems of equations is when you have more than 2 equations, 2 or more equations. And so I'm going to use this grid. Hopefully you can see it. Let's do the first 2 in this coordinate plane. And so you always start with the initial point. That's the y-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Remember the b is the y-intercept, so it's positive 3. 1, 2, 3. It's right there. That's my first point right there. And then m is the slope. You put it over 1. So that's your rise, that's your run. This is the change on y. Okay? This is the change on x. This little triangle says change. And so change on y from the first point, from the initial point. So you go 1, 2, because it's positive, you go up. And this is positive, so you go to the right. And you can repeat that slope 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2, and so on. And so you just trace that line right there. Try to align it. That's why we do repeated slopes, because that makes it easier, especially now that we're going to be working with systems of equations. For the next one, you have positive 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And then your slope is negative. Since you don't have a slope in here, you put a negative 1 over 1. So you go from the initial point, right, from your first point, which is the constant, you go down 1 because it's negative, and 1 to the right. Now notice that I gave the negative to only the rise, not the 1. This is positive. Negative 1, positive 1. So down 1 and 1 to the right, not to the left, to the right. 1 down, 1 to the right, 1 down, 1 to the right, and so on. And so in here, it will be really hard to know where the two lines meet, which is what we're going to be looking at in the following units. But this is just an idea of what we're doing, okay? Graphing your two equations. Again, we're not looking at the two graphs together for now, but in future lessons, that's what we're going to be doing. Where do they meet? Where do they meet? Okay, I'm also going to graph these two on this one coordinate plane. And so, if you recall, when we're not adding anything, if we don't have plus b in here, that means that there is a plus 0. So that's going to be in your origin. And from there, you're going to, if you don't have the round, you put it over 1. So you rise 2 and 1 to the right. Okay, so 1, 2, 1 to the right, 1, 2, 1 to the right, 1, 2, 1 to the right. And you can keep going if you wish. In fact, 1 will be enough, but notice how if the dots are so wide that I'm not going to be able to really see. See, it should go through here and through here, but then it opens up. That's why it's important to do as many as you can. And you will be better, aligning them better, a little better. For the last one, I usually say you should worry about when you have only one variable and 0. But other than that, if you have y equals 5, just find y. This is your y-axis. Put a dot on y, and it says, if it doesn't have x, you should not touch the x-axis. Okay? You just go like, yeah, right there through that point without touching the x-axis because it doesn't have an x. It doesn't have an x, don't touch x. Unless, of course, it's y equals 0, then that's something else. Okay, but these are the two lines. This is for this one, and this equation belongs to this line. And so the first one says, Wendy has a box of apples and 5 extra apples. Elizabeth has 2 boxes of apples. She ate an apple. How many apples do the boxes have to have in order for them to have the same amount of apples? And is to actually create tables and graph those. So here I have 2 tables, one for each one of them, one for Wendy, one for Elizabeth. If each box has 0 apples, but she has 5 extra apples, then we only have the 5 extra. If she has one apple in each box, 1 times 1 is 1, plus 5 is 6. What if there are 2 apples in each box? Well, since he only has 1 box, right, plus the 5 would be, okay, 2 apples plus 5 is 7. if she has one box with 3 apples, right, we're just saying that this X represents the number of apples in her box, okay? Then she has 3 in the box plus 5 more is 8. If she has 4 in the box plus the 5 is 9. And if you notice, it's just growing by 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means that the next one is going to be 10 because 5 from here plus the 5 in here is 10. 6 from here plus the 5 in here is 11, 12. So you can just continue without actually plugging in. Now the other girl, Elizabeth has 2 boxes of apples and she ate an apple. Okay, she ate it. It's -1. So now let's say that the boxes are empty and she ate an apple. That means that she ate somebody else's apple and so she's in debt. She owes an apple. If each box has 1 apple and 2 boxes with 1 apple is 2 minus the one that she ate, now she only has 1. Okay? Each box has 1 apple. 1 apple in 2 boxes is 2 minus 1 is 1. Now, if she has 2 boxes and each box has 2, 2 cajas y cada caja tiene 2, 2 por 2 son 4, minus the one she ate is 3. Now, what if each box has 3? 3 and 3 are 6, minus 1 is 5. Now, if the boxes have 4, 4 and 4 is 8, minus 1 is 7. Now, I can go ahead and keep logging into the boxes, or I can just look at the pattern. Okay, it goes up by 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So this is going to be 9, 11, 13. But if you're not sure about that, you can continue to plug in the 2 boxes with each having 5. 5 and 5 is 10, minus 1 is 9. 6 and 6 is 12, minus the one she ate is 11. And then 7 and 7 is 14, minus 1 is 13. So those are the 2 tables. This is what you would have to do in your assignment, okay? And I already pre-created a coordinate plane that will include the points that we need. If you notice, we are starting with 0 to 7 for x, so that's what we need. And for y, we need -1. And we need up to 13. That's the biggest number in both combined. So that's why in reality we need up to 13, but we do need the -1 down here. And if you want, you can include more, but you don't need those. Okay, so let me see if I can enlarge it a little bit. And so we're gonna start plotting points. When you create a table and then you graph each point, this represents 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. That's plotting points, okay? So when they say graph by plotting points, and the points can be in coordinate form with x and y, or they can be in a table with x and y. It's the same thing, okay? So 0, 5 will be 0, 5. That's my first point. 1, 6 is 1 in x, 6 in y. Let me move this out of the way. The next one is 2, 7. So if I have 2 boxes for Wendy, 2 apples in each box for Wendy, then I end up with 7 apples. 3, 8, 3, 8. I'm gonna go a little faster. 4, 9. So 4, 9. 5, 10, 5, 10, 6, 11, and 7, 12. Okay, I'm just graphing each of these points. Remember that you go on x first, and then you go on y, the value for y. So 5, 10 in here will be 5 on x, 10 on y. So that's the graph for Wendy, okay? Now let's do the one for Elizabeth. Elizabeth is 0, -1. That means that she ate somebody else's apple, so she owes somebody that apple. 1, 1. If there are 1 apples in each box, then she has 1 apple because she has 2 boxes. That means 2 apples, but she ate 1. She's left with 1. Then 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 5, 4, 7, 4, 7, 5, 9, 5, 9, 6, 11, 6, 11. That's where they met. And 7, 13, 7, 13, right there. Okay, so let me connect those points. And then we can decide what does this represent, okay? So the question in here says, how many apples do the boxes have to have in order for them to have the same amount of apples? So let me translate that in Spanish. ¿Cuántas manzanas tienen que tener cada caja para que así ellas puedan tener la misma cantidad de manzanas? Algo así. Okay, so how many apples do the boxes have to have in order for them to have the same amount of apples? And we notice in here that for them to have the same number of apples, the boxes have to have 6 apples. So this is apples per box. And here is total number of apples that each person gets, okay? So, tienen que tener 6 manzanas cada caja para que las dos, Wendy y Elizabeth, tengan 11 manzanas cada quien. If he has more than that, then Elizabeth will have more apples. If he has more than 6. If he has less than 6, then Wendy will have more apples than Elizabeth, okay? Okay, so let's look at another example. It says, you're looking to buy 2 different phones. Phone A costs $100 and has a monthly cost of $20. Phone B costs $40 and has a monthly cost of $30. In how many months will both plans cost the same? So here are the 2 tables for plan A, for phone A and phone B. And so for X, what that represents is the months, okay, that you're gonna be paying for that plan, I suppose. And so it's gonna be $20 each month plus the $100, okay? So if it's 0 months, let's say that you just start, you don't pay the $20 because you haven't started your plan yet, but you paid the $100 for the phone. Let's say that you never activated and that's just what you pay, the $100. Now, what if you have been with that phone for 1 month? 1 month at $20 is $20 plus 100 is 120. Now 2 months, it's 2 months paying $20, that's $40 plus 100 is 140. 3 times 20 is 60 plus 100 is 160. 4 months times the 20 monthly cost is $80 plus 100 is 180. Now, I want you to notice that in here, it's going up by 20. It's just because you're adding the $20 for each month. So it's going to be 200 plus 20 of the next month is 220 plus 20 of the next month is 240 plus 20 of the next month is 260 and so on. For the other phone, he says that the phone costs $40. It has a monthly cost of $30. So if you buy it but you don't activate it, you pay 0 months. You only pay for the cost of the phone, which is $40. Now what if you pay for 1 month? It's $30 for the monthly cost plus the 40 is 70. Now what if you pay for 2 months? 2 times 30 is 60 plus 40 is 100. And I want you to see that in here you're still paying more on phone A. What about for 3 months? 3 times the 30 monthly cost is $90 plus 40 is 130. Then, what if you pay for 4 months? 4 times 30 is 120 plus 40 is 160. 4 months, you're still paying more in phone A, so it's a good deal in here, right? Then 5 months times 30 is 150, 190. Still paying more in here by $10. The 6th month, 6 times 30, 180 plus 40 is 220. Oh, guess what? After month 6, you are even. You pay the same amount. 7 times 30 is 210 times the 40 is 250. Now you're paying more on this phone. And it depends on what kind of plan you want. Like maybe if you're gonna stay for a long time with your phones and and that's usually what you do, then be careful, because at first it might look like a good deal, but then eventually you might end up paying more, especially if it's after 2 years. If you want, you can continue this table and see how much would you pay after 2 years, after 24 months. And so let's start graphing. So 0, 100 would be 0, 100. It's right there. 1, 120. So it's 1, 120. 2, 140. 2, 140. 3, 160. 4, 180. 200 after 1 month. 20 after 1 month. See, this is like going up 20 for every 1 month. That's your rise and run. Okay, 8 in 8 months you'll be paying $260 for phone A. So that's my phone A, where I pay so much money at the beginning but less for my plan. Now for phone B, you start with 0.40, very little money for the phone, but the plan is $30 and it can add up. So 0.40, 170, it's gonna be in the middle because I don't have, if you notice I went by 20s, okay? And this is the cost, this is the months. The next one is 100. After 3 months, you pay 130. After 4 months, 160. 5 months, 190. 6 to 20, 6 to 20, that's where they meet. 7 to 50, 7 is 250. And 8 is 280. Right there. And so I connect my points. So again, what does this mean? It means that if you're gonna stay with a plan less than 6 months, then it's better to get phone B because you pay less. But if you're gonna stay longer than 6 months with your phone, then it's better to pay less with phone A, right? You pay more at the beginning, but eventually, because you're gonna stay with them for a long time, then you're gonna be paying less than the other company. So that's what this information represents. Okay, one more example. It says Daisy has $50 and spends $10 a month. Daniela owes $70 and pays back $20 monthly, when will they have the same amount? And so these are my tables. I'm going to include 0, which means right now in the present. 1 represents 1 month later, 2 months, 3, 4, 5. Then same thing, present, 1 month in the future, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so what it says is that Daisy has $50. That means right now she has $50. And she spends $10 a month. So 1 month later, she's not gonna have 50, she's gonna have $10 less. So she's gonna have $40. Because you're subtracting, spends means gastar, okay? So minus 10. She spends another $10, that's 30. She spends another $10, now she will have 20, month 3. Month 4, she will have 10, and then month 5, she has no money. For Daniela, she owes $70. Daniela owes $70 and pays back 20. So, owes quiere decir deber, okay? She owes $70, debe $70, so that's why it's going to be negative. And so after 1 month, she pays $20. So she's not gonna owe 70, she's gonna owe 50. Después de un mes paga 20, entonces va a deber solo 50. Okay? After that, she pays another $20. Now she's gonna owe only 30. After that, she pays another 20. Now she will owe $10. Month 4, she also gives $20. She pays the 10, but then she now has 10 deposited. Ahora ya tiene $10 depositados en el banco. And finally, she puts in another 20, so now she's gonna have $30. Remember that she's giving or depositing or paying $20 each time. Now I have here my coordinate plane. I had to use a little bit different because it starts for the X, we have 0 to 5, 0 to 5, but then for the Y in here we have positives, and then in here we have negatives and positives, so we'll see. So 0, 50, it's right now. This is numbers in the past, months in the past, meses en el pasado, meses en el futuro. So right now it's in the 0. She has $50. That's for Daisy. But then in 1 month, she will have $40. So 1 month later, she has 40. 2, 30. So month 2, she only has $30. Month 3, she has $20. Month 4, she has $10, right? 4, 10, so 4, 10. And month 5, she has $0. So that's the graph for Daisy. Now let's do Daniela. For Daniela, in the present, she owes $70. So in the present, she owes $70. It's right here. 1 month later, she owes 50 because she pays 20 of them. Pagó 20, so she now owes only 50. 2 months, she owes $30 because she pays another 20. Month 3, she owes $10. Remember that these are the months. And this is the money they have in the bank. And 4 is she has $10 now positive, and that's where they meet. And finally 530, so 530. So now we put together our points, we connect them. So notice how your habits affect your economy. Even though Daniela had a debt, tenía deuda, pero pagó en vez de gastar, Now she's getting richer and richer. While Daisy, she had money in the bank, but then she started spending. And even if you spend just a tiny bit, she ended up being with no money eventually, right? And even debt. Now in here, let's say that if she continues her habit, Daisy, after month 6, she owes $10. And for Daniela, after 6 months, because she's now saving money, she has $50. Okay, so where do you want to be? ¿Dónde quieren estar? ¿Ahorrando o gastando? With this, now you're able to do 4.3. And for your homework, all you have to do is just create the tables and the graph and see where they meet. Okay, and just say, what does that point represent? So have fun.